We've all excitedly clicked on a sheet music song title labeled Easy Piano, thinking this will be perfect, only to realize easy piano does not really mean easy. Hey, I'm Phoenix, and I'm the Tattooed Piano Teacher. Today we are demystifying piano music levels. We'll go over the different labeling systems. We will clarify all of the terminology, and we'll even dive into those very obscure pop music difficulty labels. Be sure to stick around to the very end. I'm going to give you an example of a single song title, first page shown in all of the levels, so you can kind of get an overall tangible view of what these levels are. First, let's go over the 4 different systems of labeling levels. System number 1 is the piano method book labeling system. An example of this would be a method book, lesson book labeled level 1 or level 2A or level 3B. If you're interested in how different method books compare to each other, I do have a free method book comparison chart. So if you want to know what level 1 in this series versus level 1 in this series, that chart will help you out. Because unfortunately, with the method book labeling system, it's all within the series. So level 1 in this publisher series may not match level 1 in this series, thus the confusion. But before we start demystifying that whole bag of worms, let's talk about the second system of labeling levels, which is the competition or repertoire levels, which also use their own integrated number system. An example of this would be like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. And each competition or repertoire list has its own grading system. Lovely. We will discuss later. But first, the third system of labeling levels is the pop music, sheet music, digital download world, which uses its own word labels. So in this case, we don't have level 1 or grade 1, we have beginner piano or easy piano. These are easy to understand because they're words, but the words don't always mean what we think they do. And the fourth system of labeling levels is a general difficulty level using words. So this is elementary or intermediate or advanced. You may have heard those words before. Now, none of these 4 systems are perfect, and none of them really relate to each other in a super simple, straightforward way, unfortunately. But in order to start demystifying all of these different level terms, we're going to use the general difficulty level, the word labels, because I feel like they are the most universal out of all the systems. So here are all of the levels within this system, and we are going to use these labels to compare all of the other leveling systems. First, we have early elementary, elementary, late elementary. Then it's early intermediate, intermediate, or late intermediate. Then early advanced, advanced, and very advanced is the top. What I like about these labels is that they're easy to understand and they have a logical progression. Many music publishers use these labels on their songbooks, their sheet music, and sometimes their method books as an extra guide to help you out. So now let's tackle the method book labels and see how they fall under the umbrella of the general difficulty labels we just listed. To give you an example, I'm going to be using 3 popular method book series and show you how they fall under the different labels. We're going to be using Piano Adventures, Alfred Premier Piano Course, and Wonder Keys. Feel free to grab the piano method book chart if the series you like to use is not in this list of 3, or you just want to visually compare these levels. So first, Piano Adventures. The primer and level 1 fall under early elementary. 2A would be elementary, 2B would be late elementary, 3A and 3B are early intermediate, level 4 is intermediate, and the final level, level 5, falls under the late intermediate. Moving on to Alfred's Premier Piano Course. The first level, 1A, and the next level, 1B, are both early elementary. Level 2A is elementary, 2B is late elementary, levels 3 and 4 are early intermediate, level 5 is intermediate, and level 6 is late intermediate. So as you can see, the Piano Adventures and the Alfred Premier Piano Course are fairly similar in their numbering system with just some slight variations. In the Wonder Keys Method series, all 3 of the primer books, book 1, 2, and 3, fall under early elementary, and I would say that the elementary level 1A and 1B books would also be under early elementary, and students aren't progressing to the mid-elementary until the 2A book, and then elementary 2B book would be under late elementary. In the intermediate series, intermediate level 1 would be early intermediate, and then levels 2 and 3 would fall under the intermediate category. Again, grab that free chart in the description for more information on how method books compare to each other, but in general, as you can see, most of the books spend the majority of their time in the elementary levels. So now you can see why a pop music score labeled easy piano, although it may be easy as in not advanced, is still going to be way too hard for someone in the primer or level 1 book that hasn't even gotten to the easy part of the levels yet. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Next, let's briefly talk about competition and repertoire lists. Now, these are their own headache in and of themselves. Every competition, festival list, repertoire list kind of has its own grading system, and so this can get really complicated. The 3 main repertoire lists or competitions that I know of are the National Federation of Music Clubs, NFMC, in the US, and then in Europe it would be the Royal Conservatory exam, and then we have the AVRSM. So although the 2 international competitions I have not done myself, I can kind of give you an idea of how these compare. So let's bring up our umbrella terms again. Generally speaking, anything labeled primary or prep would fall under the 3 elementary categories: early elementary, elementary, late elementary. Anything that's grade 1 through, let's say, 5-ish, again, each festival list has its own grading system, so take these suggestions with a grain of salt. And then grades 6 through 10, or however the particular exam levels go, would be more into the early advanced to advanced. Again, this is just very general, would need to make a whole nother video all about the different levels for each exam list. I will mention one thing about the National Federation of Music Clubs, Federation for you US teachers. One confusing thing is that with the federation levels, the primary levels are actually elementary, and anything labeled elementary is actually intermediate. Yes, my brain hurts too. It's not until you get to the medium and up that you are like intermediate to late intermediate, working your way into early advanced. That's all I'm gonna say about those. Let's talk about the pop music labels. In general, pop music uses these labels. Beginner notes, or simply just beginner, could be big note, sometimes easy play, which was originally for organ. Anything with these labels is going to be in the early elementary to elementary, sometimes late elementary. It really, really varies. These are broad categories, and it really just depends on the song. Sometimes you will see something labeled beginner that will have lots of moves, lots of eighth notes, reaches of a 6th or 7th, lots of black keys. So you really just have to look at it on a song by song basis. Anything labeled easy piano is actually going to be in the late elementary to intermediate category. And again, these are very general labels, but know that if you have a level 1 piano adventure student, they cannot play an easy piano arrangement unless you simplify it for them a little bit. So I know that can be confusing. The next label would be piano solo, which would be anywhere between intermediate and very advanced. Again, it varies from song to song. And there is PVG, which is piano, vocal, guitar. This is also in the highest difficulty category, so anywhere from intermediate to very advanced. The only reason these 2 separate labels exist is piano solo means that the score is written on one grand staff for a piano player to read like normal piano music. When you get to the piano vocal guitar version, then they're going to have a grand staff plus a vocal line, which will have the melody and the lyrics on it. So you're looking at 3 lines of music versus 2. And you will also have the chords and sometimes the guitar chord symbols as well above the music, so that a piano and a vocalist and a guitarist could all play it together. So it's really more about the format than the difficulty when looking at piano solo versus PVG. I hope that that helps clear things up a little bit. Now I'm going to show you an example of a tune that you hopefully recognize in all of the different labels from early elementary all the way to very advanced, so you can visually see the progression as it gets harder. Be sure to hit that like button if you have found any value in this video, and consider subscribing if you would like to see more videos from me in the future. So starting with early elementary. And here we progress up to elementary, and then late elementary. Moving into early intermediate, intermediate, and late intermediate. Here's what early advanced could look like. Advanced and very advanced. Now, of course, there are many variations within each of these labels and each of these labeling systems. So be sure to consult a piano teacher or a piano professional if you're not sure if a piece is right for you. If you haven't already, grab that free piano method comparison chart, link in the description. And if you want to keep watching, here are my top 3 favorite piano method series. And I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching.